Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley and this is video log number 24. So about half an hour ago I was just sat in bed reading and I can hear coming from the lounge my wife sobbing and the sound of Half a World Away by Oasis sung by a beautiful female singer, and without even being in the room the song sort of stirred a bit of emotion in me, not even knowing what it was connected to. What it was connected to was this advert behind me, which is the John Lewis advert for Christmas. Now, to give you a bit of background, this has been going for a couple of years, and last year's advert was a small child who had an Arctic penguin, and the penguin was lonely, so he gets a second penguin as his Christmas present. Now, this particular piece of John Lewis advertising, I read a little bit about it. The advert itself costs about £1 million to make, and from what I understand, John Lewis will then spend a further £6 million decking out all their stores with Man on the Moon paraphernalia. So the song that they use, let's start there, is, as I say, Half a World Away, which was a 90s Oasis B-side. I think it was Whatever was the actual release single that it was a B-side of. They may have done further work because it was a nice song with it since. But the most prevalent thing that Half a World Away got to be was the theme tune for the royal family. Now, the royal family was much loved in the UK. I know my family, nearly all of them, really liked the royal family, and they even gave it me once they'd finished with their box sets. Frankly, I hated the show. It never made me laugh. I found it tedious. I didn't like any of the humour. It seemed badly paced to me. It never seemed to... I just didn't like it. You know, that's a personal thing. I'm sure lots of people out there loved the royal family. But here we have it again being used for the John Lewis advert, the same piece of music, Half a World Away. But to explain what happens in the ad, for obvious reasons, I don't think I'll get away with playing it as it's about 4 hours old. But you've got a young girl looking up at the moon through a sort of fairly standard-ish telescope, and she can see it all beautifully. She can zoom in on craters at angles and all sorts of obviously nonsensical stuff. But what she spots up there is a little house with a little old man coming out looking very destitute and very lonely, and she tries to communicate with him throughout the advert. It's only a 2-minute long advert. But she tries to, for instance, throw a paper aeroplane out of a window to get in touch with him, and she fails, obviously. Except at the end of the ad, where she manages on Christmas Day, beautiful and touching, to send a parcel via means of a helium balloon, not a rocket, but a helium balloon. Obviously, we've got to suspend disbelief, it is only an advert. But she manages to get the man on the moon, this old chap, a present for Christmas, which is a telescope. So they can look at each other from Earth to the moon and from the moon to the Earth. And that's kind of maybe one of the last few images that we see from the advert is sort of all-seeing eye symbolism through the eye of both telescopes from the young girl and the old man looking back at each other. And it's all very touching. My wife, as I say, was reduced to tears by this advert. So it's globe reinforcement in the same way as that's all I've ever found in music, if you ignore stuff like Pink Floyd and R.E.M. singing If You Believe They Put a Man on the Moon. If you ignore the sort of handful of examples that have been vastly covered on the internet by other people, there is very few flat earth clues in music. Because it's all like this, it's just ram-packed with globe reinforcement. And in this case, I would call it moon landing reinforcement. Half a World Away, the connotations that the song gives you are pretty obvious, and the imagery is nothing short of blatant. The most noteworthy thing being that it looks better than the moon landing footage. I know in Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues Part 1, he points out that there's very, very few things. I think there was a CBS special or a HBO special or something like that I have seen, which shows them landing on the moon with loads of noise and rumbling engines, which you don't get on the real moon landing footage, I hasten to add. But yeah, it's one of those. I'd put the link, like I say, in the description below this video so you can have a look at the 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I think it is, or 2 minutes and 10-second long advert. I put it up now because by the time this advert is played 47,000 times on every single channel, I will be so sick of it, I will never want to see it again. So I thought I'd get this video in while it's only a few hours early. Unfortunately, no flat earth in there, so this is going to be just another globe reinforcement video like all the many thousands of music videos that are out there. But hopefully you guys will see it in the same disgusting light that I see it in, rather than it reducing you to tears. Anyway, I've been Nathan Oakley. I will see you in the next video.